Factorio Deathworld Marathon episode 47. We are thinking about winning the game. We're going to learn about the solar edge and fusion power and promethium science by hopefully reorganizing Mindtech into a ship that will go to the solar edge using fusion power to make some promethium science. Mindtech currently sitting above Fulgora. It's one of the oldest designs that's still doing what it was originally planned to, other than this whole other scratch area we've got. Its job is to collect ice asteroids and drop them on Fulgora to use for water and nuclear power. And the thing is, we've got a bunch of other ships already. Becky and Hexacube go to Aquilo with the same pattern. Cobalt Core, you can kind of see by the platform hub a couple of tanks of cold fluorocaton, and the quantum processors that we're making. All these other ships are accidentally doing the job of collecting ice that we can drop on Fulgora better than Mindtech is as its singular defined function. So we're going to give this guy a new job, which is going to be pretty complicated. We've got to decide which turrets we want, how they all line up, where the collectors go, how many collectors we need, what kind of ammunition we want to put in these turrets. Got to do all of that. It's going to be complicated. But we are going back to Novice first for a couple of things. I think there's a couple of other bits we need for the spaceship, but whatever. Mostly what we are here to do is, where are we? Yeah, over here. We want to blast all of our blue science, and also these red chip requests. And then we also want to blast all the engines that are making this blue science. All of the blue science and all of the engines. We also want to blast the purple science, which is down here. Are we going to move all of this stuff around? We're not. We're just going to go by. A lot of the stuff we can tidy up later off camera as well. Give bots a lot of jobs, a lot of stone and steel that we don't really need. Those are pretty much all the things that are using red chips, so I don't think Novice even needs to build. Actually, we might keep one just to try and use up the plastic, because we might have some kind of red chips floating around. But that's pretty much all the plastic being used. And then I think because of that, we can blast all of the plastic. I don't think we need any of this. Let's keep the light bulb. And then I don't think we're going to need nearly as much of the cracking. Let's get rid of most of this. Let's get rid of most of this. And I don't think we're going to need really all that much petrochem at all. And these are also still... Okay, we've got some rare modules on here, but I just don't think we need... Yeah, there's going to be some replumbing to do. Where do you go? You come from the train. Okay, then, yeah, we're going to start by getting rid of... On the this also goes to, yeah, one of the things that we are using the petrochem for is the rocket fuel, which is still... surprisingly not upgraded. We should do something about that. We're sending it out to the walls for defense, but almost everything else in the science department we are we're going to need a couple of these things, but not as many. We're using it for explosives, although we could do those better as well. We're doing some explosives recycling, which is fine, but all of this we can mostly simplify. We're going to have to put most of this back before we blast some of these things, before we wander off and do the other stuff. But also, blue science is happening off planet. All of this stuff can... Actually, let's get rid of the power poles as well, and then just put them back afterwards if there's problems. The sulfur we won't need. The thing is, we are... this build of this spaceship is going to be pretty complicated, and we are kind of saw-toothing the labs, because we have built a whole bunch of labs. We haven't built everything else that follows. We haven't built all the sciences to support it. These we want to upgrade as well, which we can do in a bit. Oh yeah, have we made all the labs we want? Novice is not asking for epic labs anymore, and I'm pretty sure I had some legendary speed modules. Yes, give me these. And we have upgraded our red and green science to the size we want, except we are currently not running. Let's keep shuffling around these technologies so that we can hopefully find something that the labs have. Oh, apparently they didn't have that. Oh well. This is in a distinct Roboport network, which is why slapping these legendary beacons into the middle of these builds is a thing we're going to do by hand. And distinct Roboport network. We send signals out of the things we want. Turns out to be everything. Yellow science is one of the things that we are still kind of struggling for. which is, yeah, fine. And that's what we're going to build now, kind of. Maybe even here. The thing we did last episode, which is now in the state that we are happy with it. Yeah, all the blue science is on vulcanus now. Vulcanus has got some train supply. Vulcanus has, yeah, largely shut itself down by the looks of things, because we've got all the stuff we want, which is kind of weird. We've got a whole lot of green chips. I guess we've got all the module upgrades we want as well. I did want to change some of this around, though. Like, we've got all of these legendary modules that I don't think we need in the recyclers and these upgrade loops at this point. I would rather have them on the new spaceship we are designing. And so I think all of this stuff, yeah, I think we can just have all of these recyclers take a little bit longer, and then if we are not using these legendary modules, we should get them back. And then also the blue chip upgrade is, yeah, the blue chip upgrade loop is doing everything it likes nice and fine. So, I mean, yeah, it's not even running. There is a little circuit control down here that says we have the 12,000 rare blue chips we want for this build achieves via, yeah, this splitter. And so we are going to do actually a couple of things. First of all, we wanted to pull all these modules out so that we can fly all these modules to other places and do things like upgrade asteroids with them, because that's a thing we're going to do. Oh yeah, let's also talk about the ice cubing trick, as we are calling it now here as well, after we've reallocated most of these modules. Not actually reallocated all of these modules. There's a couple of things we want to do here. Where are they? Over here. I realized when I was designing this red chips upgrader, which does the same thing except for rare red chips, and we also have all of the rare red chips we want, that mostly we are dealing with rare red chips. We don't really have a use for epic or legendary, although that's got an asterisk next to it that we'll get to later. So the rare red chips we're just going to do for volume, and the same with legendaries, because we would rather have the rare red chips because they feed into the other processes. And then also these two. And I was going to do, oh, and this one. I was going to do the same thing for blue chips, because we, again, are feeding rare blue chips into the rest of the industrial profiles that we have. Legendaries just want productivity. I guess epics upgrade, legends productivity, and then blue rare chips. This one already had a bit of speed in it. We are going to replace that as well, and this is going to be our standard, and the fluid inputs are the right way around. This is going to be our standard blue chip at rare upgrade thing. And then, yeah, the snowballing trick that or the ice cube trick that we're going to talk about is this beacon in the middle of all of these red chips. Beacon's bad for quality, right? And this is a legendary beacon with a legendary speed 3 module, so let's get rid of one of these things for comparison. We are making red chips at 20% quality and 2.4 craft speed, which is fine, right? Okay, we're apparently needing rare red chips again. This legendary module with its legendary beacon with its legendary speed module is kicking out quite the quality hit. This thing is taking, you know, maybe a quarter of the quality off of the red chips, except look at the speed, 12.8 versus 2.4. So we are multiplying the speed by 5 or so in order to, yeah, and trading off for that maybe a quarter of the quality. So this gets better if we had better modules in it, which we currently don't because we backed them all down. We're going to Control Z to put this beacon back. That's what these beacons do. We are not really pressed for the amount of copper or the amount of green chips. Plastic is a little more of a thing on Vulcanus, but the ability to, yeah, trading away a quarter of the quality to multiply the build speed by 5 seems like a pretty good deal. So that's why all of these quality builds have beacons in the middle of them, but not much beaconing. And also in several cases, yeah, quality module 2s. These ones we could actually upgrade the speed 2s. This one, I believe we have a couple of legendary 3s around, so we should compare the speed boost we get when we put in these legendary 2s, because this one will now have quality minus 4.7, these ones have got quality minus 2.8, which is great, but then how much speed are we kicking out here? 6.9 across the whole thing versus 7.2 and 5.3. Yes, so these we do want to be moduling slightly differently. There was a third one down here to get more quality out for the same speed. We don't want to speed these ones up too much because we just don't have. Actually, we do have the inputs because all of these are stacked now. The problem would be we would struggle to fit things on the recycling belts. So that was the first thing that I was going to tweak in Vulcanus, is just the moduling on these red chips. Where are they? Oh yeah, they're over here. This one's weird. The moduling on the red chips to try and get more rare red chips out. But the thing is, I think we actually need more epic and legendary red chips, because that build went in last. The blue chips went in first, and we've also been using a lot of the rare blue chips, and so we have all of these epic and legendary blue chips that we're kind of not doing anything with. So we need to, if we're going to do something with these, we need some other upgrader of red chips from rare to legendary, which is kind of, the thing we just reversed the moduling on. But we also have this other build, which is currently trying to do regular blue chips into rare blue chips. But we kind of threw this one down at the same time, just to get more out when we needed the blue chips. But I think we can now convert all of these to red chip upgraders. All of the beacon upgraders are... None of these are legendary quality modules. These are all epic quality modules, that's fine. One of the other continuing problems we're having are these being storage chests, get random stuff dumped in them and they fill up and they're kind of a mess. And then all of the other logistic chests in the module trashing loop do that as well. And I don't really have... maybe we could recycle these green chips, I think the blue chips, into something else. I think the long-termish plan we're going to do for that is somewhere down here we have a box with a lot of rare steel. The uncommon steel we are upgrading into better steel. We do have... I was wondering whether or not we had... Why aren't you running? Should you not be able to get more steel? What controls... Oh, we're keeping a volume of uncommon steel in case we need it, and then trashing everything else. Okay, fine. The thing... somewhere down here we are making steel boxes, and I think we want to do basically the whole thing again, just so that we can have a bit more storage in these things, so that we can make a mess in these various parts and not care quite so much. We've done this all tragically wrong. This is upgrading red chips to... maybe to rare. We've got the basic and common recipes. We specifically wanted to be... Oh yeah, didn't we... didn't we check that on one of... Yeah, we checked that on the recycler. We wanted to be looking at the uncommon red chips. Maybe... Well, yeah, the rare quality red chips. Maybe we should actually set the qualities of red chip construction that we actually wanted to be looking at. Yeah, that's why these guys are the legendary quality, and, importing the quality of red chips that we wanted to be dealing with as well. Cool, good job. Things continue to be a mess. This one wants to be epic quality red chips. Sure, was this always a little scratch area that we maybe didn't need, and we're kind of trying to make up for the shortfall of not having as much high quality red chip stuff because it hasn't been running as long, and we've got this kind of backlog of epic and legendary blue chips that we don't with the red chips? Kind of yes. Would it still be nice if it was doing something sensible? Also yes. Other reasons why we need Vulcanus to be turning over to some degree all the time include that we're also making the purple science here. This is, the first Vulcanus purple science build. It's kind of limited by stone as it falls out of the molten recipes for everything else. We're also making military science here. We've slapped this with some beacon and assembler upgrades, and this is how we're getting more purple science. Yeah, time to just go to a different thing, I guess. Let's go back to... maybe we were short on yellow science. We were probably short on yellow science. Plastic productivity can probably continue. But yeah, reasons why we wanted to specifically upgrade yellow science is because purple science is not at full rate, but is better. And we don't even need a full blue belt of yellow science. Like, the thing about yellow science is it's in a lot of these techs. Okay, there's a couple that it's not in. The mining productivity, the steel productivity, low density structure productivity, a couple of these industrial productivity things. But if we are making large amounts of yellow science, oh, rocket power productivity doesn't use it. That's a bit of a surprise. Okay, sure. We're not going to need as much yellow science as we need red and green science, of which we are planning on building basically a full blue lane of that. But how much do we have? We've got... This is 9 assemblers, which are kicking out 2 and a bit each, so this is not quite a red belt. We're going to need a bit more. What if we just slap these ones on this side? Actually, let's take the power poles as well. Yeah, so we can put the yellow science with different priorities on different parts of the belts to where the green and red science is going. But the other thing that the green and red science is doing is we are stopping the input belts if we are getting too much stuff. Yeah, if we are happy with the amount of red and green science we've got. So I think we need to jump this signal onto, say, this belt, and then have a sacrificial piece of belt that will do nothing, just because I like the idea of jumping signals over it, onto, say, this belt? We have put these in a weird place. We're going to change all of this because we can. We're just going to move this down slightly so that we can have a control piece of belt in here, and these ones are going to enable disable if yellow science is greater than 0. I think we just blast this yellow science as well, because it's not doing the thing anymore. We've got the thing being done better in a different place. Yeah, we have just replaced all this thing. That was... I think that we are slightly ahead of what the plan was going to be, and was just like having a moment of, wait, don't we already have drone frames down here doing something? And the answer is yes, and the follow-up is they do not need to come out of this box, but also can we just rebuild these faster in place? We would need the electric engines, we would need the batteries. Steel and green chips are probably already here. Yeah, if we can just do a bit of an upgrade over here. This is acid. Acid into the blue chips is not a thing we need to support anymore. In fact, acid into the batteries over here. I mean, this is also where acid is currently happening. Where are we even getting this acid from? Is this something we can just hugely simplify? Acid is happening all the way over here. And we also broke the... Yeah, we know we broke the sulfur feed. I guess we're just not doing acid at all anymore. Oh, did we also break the water feed to the concrete when we blasted that petrochem? We did. Okay, let's put that back as well. More of the same. We're going to need to boost these guys significantly, which is cool because we were planning on doing that anyway. I think we module these guys like so. We then also don't need to worry about moving them anywhere else. We're just putting these things in the network. We can also deletion planner any of the rest of this stuff. It doesn't matter because it's also all going to the network. And then we've got a place we can put another one of these nice fast beacons in here, hitting everyone. Some places where we can beacon a train, which is cool. And so how many are we using? We are using 0. Wait, the batteries we're putting on the belt here, that we would be putting on the belt, we don't even need to care about here. These are not important here. The batteries are only important when, and then the electric engines are also, oh yeah, going into the rocket, yeah, platform parts build that we no longer need here because we're doing that on Fulgora as well. This is a blue chip. This was a blue science red chips feed. It's refactoring day. Apparently, all of this nonsense can just go away. Roboports, we can also just request in the blue science. The red chips for blue science. You request a bunch of red chips. You're going to make some roboports, that's still fine. We're still limiting roboports in some way. Totally normal. Get these guys just into storage somewhere else, I guess. And then this belt here, and maybe there's a super easy way to do this by just getting, request chest here. This is where the batteries can be requested. Why can't I find batteries? Here are batteries. 600 batteries, have a good time. Actually, let's also figure out whether these guys are well ratioed. 10 sulfur per second, 22 sulfur per second. That's actually pretty good. We will need a request box as well. Aren't you guys running off a request box? Because in here we will need, I don't know, like 600 iron or something. Just to keep all of... Oh yeah, we haven't done the inserters for the side. Yeah, let's finish this build. Okay, no, I think we can do all of this differently because we also have this water is going over to the other cracking, but this isn't going anywhere. Yeah, we're going to do this with requests because that means this whole belt of coal doesn't need to exist here, and this this will also serve to pull some of the items out of. Then let's upgrade these chem plants, because why not? Yeah, we're going to attempt to pull some of the coal and sulfur out of the logistics network. No big deal. We're going to have a bit of an acid build, which I think we are then going to look around at this disaster and still not be happy about it. But yeah, we want to turn this all into batteries. So, is this also a thing we're not really doing with productivity because we're trying to use up the gas because we've turned off all of Novus's plastic? Maybe. 1.4 times 8, so we need roughly 12 batteries a second or something, and then we're using 0.7 electric engines. Are you making about 1.4? You're making more than that. We can have these guys going faster, which I think just means we're just going to boost the speed in these things because we're making enough electrical engines to get by. That one's going to annoy me. We're going to do that again. And then how many batteries do we need? 1.6 times 8, which sounds like it's going to be 6.4 because those sound like multiples of 2. Close enough, we're going to go with it. we have vastly more acid than we need. I guess at some point we are also going to need... Oh yeah, where did we put acid on a train? Where and how did we put acid on a train? We broke this link all the way over here. We've still got a bit of acid to put on a train, which is super interesting, because... Oh yeah, maybe we should have a faster inserter there. Can we just bring it up here and go like acid in a train at some point when we are mining uranium again? That's actually going to fit in here really easily, isn't it? Get this, move it down. We've even got the other acid tank to fill up now as well, that's fine. And because we're currently not mining uranium, we are currently just emptying the box of uranium into the Coverix. We are not emptying the box of uranium into the Coverix because we got the Coverix wrong, and we have been running down our fuel slightly, and no big deal. I think I go and scrape those belts rather than have the bots deal with it. I think we're fine for half a belt of steel, but we should have checked how many green chips these things use, because it turns out to be a lot, but also is a thing that is completely fine. This looks to be doing everything that we want. The graph is sawtoothing a bit. That's kind of still going to be the case, not really concerned. Let's check out the biter sanctuary while we are still on the same planet and just check that everything is working out fine. And we don't have any eggs building up over here. We have all of... yeah, the modules and the chips we need to keep all this running. We've got a pile of bioflux. Everything is mostly pretty fine. This is all just running. Yeah, we're good. Let's go and design a ship. Green chips are the ones we're manufacturing here. They're not even the green chips coming in from... Okay, yeah, we can do this better as well. Here are these green chips coming from the train build, and we have... Okay, we want this at red belt probably. There we go. I guess one of today's other themes is don't kick off a project a tidy novice when you want to be somewhere else thinking about something else because you're going to do a bad job of it. There does seem to be a pattern of the last couple of episodes of spending the first 10 to 30 minutes just like poking things, making sure that the plates are spinning, doing kind of the base maintenance before getting into the meat of the thing, and I'm pretty happy for that to also function as kind of an introductory base tour to like keep on track with where we are with all the various parts. Yeah, the low density structure going on the train is down here, and I'm really not sure maybe the build is large enough, but we probably don't have enough copper, but I'm also probably not fixing that now. But in the spirit of base tours, let's briefly look at Gleba. That is glebing along pretty nicely, and check in with what's happening with the LDS here, because one of these options is yeah, just speeding this up again, and I think we go for this. Could we just... we must have better modules in Gleba by now. Yeah, we got some prod mod 3s. Have yourself some prod mod 3s. Yeah, there's going to be enough copper, isn't it? These guys are going to keep using the copper. And then we can change the schedule and ship some of this LDS over here. And we're probably going to have enough to keep launching rockets because there's going to be all this stuff on the belt, and we're not going to queue a launch until we've got a surplus, which is probably fine. But the other thing I wanted to look at was technology-wise, is it a good idea to kick off some low-density structure productivity, especially if all those researches are things that we have sitting around? Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that we're still kind of pivoting between based on just like whatever we have sitting around. Oh well. And then yeah, Aquilo. These bits of Aquilo are... Oh yeah, this is working. I keep seeing this like mostly static Aquilo, and it's just that we built a thing that manages to be stable even when stuff is backed up. Aquilo is turning over pretty nicely and doing fine, and still has a ton of science sitting around. And yeah, the ice cube trick, which we're going to talk about in a bit, I'm naming it the ice cube trick because the first place I realized that I had enough quality to bother hitting some things with some beacons was with the ice cubes that we were trying to get up to rare quality for the cryogenic science. And so let's talk about things we want to do with this ship. Because I think we want to do some quality asteroid juggling to try and get, quality asteroid juggling to try and get the rare ice for Aquilo, but also I would like to try and build some of our munitions with quality, and I haven't completely decided yet. Do we have... We've got these quality modules. This is why we were needing to go back to vulcanus, because we wanted to get more quality modules. 8% quality is not fantastic. Yeah, do the ice cube trick here with beacons we don't have. Reasons why we need to be on Fulgora. Yeah, we want legendary module 2s. We also want some worse beacons so that we can... yeah, see what happens if we beacon some of these things and whether or not it's worth... Like, if we move this guy slightly, being able to get 5, and then with a little bit of management, we could maybe have 5 on the other side as well, and then more in the middle, and now we can get a potentially large amount of rock crushing. Like, what if we did this and then we also grabbed, if we have sent Blue Belt, we could have some kind of orbiting belt function, because we could put, if we put rocks on the belt from, and we circuit condition these guys based on what was on the belt, and we were doing this read whole contents of the belt, so we can set filters on this pretty common sushi trick, but most of these rocks from like the grabber sources will be on the inside of the belt, and then we can, we're going to need to change all these recipes. We're going to need a wide collection of these recipes. This was a whole copy-paste thing. Juggle the different kinds of rocks in their qualities, and then most of these will end up on the other side of the belt, so this might be a stable sushi. These guys, this recipe, that's not the recipe that does the... All of these ones get the productivity bonus, don't they? Yes, they do, but the quality juggling recipes don't, so we don't have to worry about more asteroid productivity like clogging up this belt. That's not a thing. I've kind of accidentally, with Becky and the other Aquilo ships, converged on a ship that basically only worries about going forwards. We don't have any asteroid collection in the back half. We have barely any combat capability in the back half. We work on going forwards and shooting the rocks out of our way and collecting everything basically just from the front as we destroy the rocks that we are then driving through. And I think for the next ship we are going to be doing, for Mine Tech, going out to the solar edge, we're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to go out to Aquila, we're going to intend to get to the solar edge, intend to get a bit of Promethium, and then come back and use all of this with the methodology of never really stopping anywhere and always shooting everything out of our way. And then, because we're planning on doing, we're still on Novice, let's go back to Mindtech, because we're planning on doing the quantum processes here, we will need to go to all the other planets. Some kind of defensive line that is, if this is the middle, maybe is 5 railgun turrets wide. So this here is half the ship, but then tapers, because the thing I'm noticing about the railgun is that the quality, rear quality railgun's quite nice. Sweeping out a large area, we have quite a lot of good overlap of fire for the bits that the ship is likely to hit. But if we are not going especially quickly, like I'm still worried about asteroids hitting us from the flank. So if we also have kind of a horn-shaped craft, do we need rocket turrets? If we've got the epic range rocket turrets, okay, also how do the epic range rocket turrets compare to the edge of the craft? Yeah, we kind of want a couple of them a bit wider, don't we? Because we could get hit by an asteroid, like we could shoot a giant asteroid here and then not have much time to kill the other things. But I'm also wondering about whether or not we need the rocket turrets in the front at all, because the thing about epic range is we got a lot of range, so maybe we can have them behind. Maybe in the middle we can go, because we need gun turrets. Yeah, we want gun turrets in here as well. Gun turrets, we probably have... Okay, we could just, yeah, look them up this way. And then we can't go any further forwards, can we? If we go further forwards, then the railgun says, hey, I might be shooting through the space you're in. That could be bad for you, so we're not going to do that. But in the middle... Because the other thing I'm wondering about is how much... If we get rid of this, because we're thinking about mirroring things, how much collection, like how many collectors can we have in this space? Oh, have we actually left collector plus gun space between all of these railguns? That is interesting. But yeah, what if we go in the middle, if we go gun turret, collector, railgun, and then we have... And then all of these rocket turrets can sit behind, although the other thing we've got to figure out is, yeah, we've got to have a pattern of somewhere all these guys have got to get their rockets and stuff. I actually quite like this little tiling section, especially as it puts the gun turrets next to the railgun turrets. And I don't think these, like, I think we could have a belt with bullets on one side, railgun bullets on the other side, and I don't think we're expecting to go through these bullets quickly, especially if we have laser turrets around the place as well. But then the follow-up question being, how do we get the bullets into this central guy? How many railguns? Is the railgun 4 wide? The railgun is 3 wide. So we could have a railgun in the middle, but then we've got a ship that is not quite symmetrical around the hub, which is going to be slightly annoying. This is also, I mean, the kind of ship we're talking about is, yeah, this wide, and then also, it's not there, it's here, and that happens to use all 10 of our railguns, which is half our railguns, but we are keeping a little bit in reserve in case things go wrong. We've got 10 collectors on the front, and there's a lot of overlap on these collectors. And I think, or maybe in the middle here, we go... No, I don't want to spread the railguns out from the front this close. But maybe we go... Yeah, maybe we flip these things. We are spreading out the collectors a bit further from the center. Do we actually pick up enough rocks to make the high quality rocks we need to make enough rockets we need to shoot those asteroids? Because in space, it's less about keeping up with just the raw damage, and over time, and especially over long journeys, which is what we're thinking about, okay, yeah, we're not thinking about that. We're thinking about maybe to the... probably to the R, probably not to the last G. Yeah, having a build that sustains the rate at which we are using these munitions. And so, yeah, the extra This is the swapping recipe, it's not the crushing recipe. This one is a crushing recipe that will show us, yeah, the extra rocket, the extra asteroid productivity we've picked up recently, the extra bullet damage that we now have, the steel productivity in the case of the railgun shells. These are all going to make decisions like, can we make red rockets at rare quality, and maybe even, can we make bullets? Can we make red bullets? Because the thing I'm thinking is, if we've got, as we said, a belt of ammo and railgun turrets, or railgun bullets, then both of these are things that need steel and some kind of copper. Maybe we can do a recipe switching thing in a foundry, maybe? Also relevant on this little... Did they all get tired at the same time? I thought I was having a UPS loss. Also relevant at this little expedition are whether or not we've got a bunch of... Yeah, give me the... Actually, give me these assembling machines as well, because I'm pretty sure somewhere there's a foundation assembling machine that we no longer need to be running at quite the high quality it is, and I would rather have, yeah, the legendary things that we will be able to take with us and put on this ship. Do we have any legendary chem plants? That's the wrong box. We've got 2 epic chem plants. Being able to take all of this really high quality gear with us and little bits and pieces of high quality gear is a thing that I would like to be able to do. One of the other ongoing questions is, if we are spending this much time with this Prometheum science-doing ship, looping back to Vulcanus and all the other inner planets and like Novus to get biter eggs and drop off science and stuff like that, how much extra time have we got when we're not necessarily using the railguns that we can be caching ammunition? How much time have we got when we don't necessarily need to be firing the rockets that we can be caching ammunition? Interesting questions, could continue with at some later point. Oh yeah, we need to drop all the stuff as well. We have a pattern that I like quite a bit of a beacon hitting a whole bunch of these things, but I don't know if I want to use a rare beacon with a tier 3 module. We can pack a combinator and a couple of combinators in here to do the same. This is how many asteroids I would like to see on the belt in total, and we've got 50-ish belt slots to play with 4 items on one side of a belt, because we're probably going to be putting them on one side of the belt, even though there's going to be stuff on the other side because scrappers, but whatever, we can play around with these limits later. The point being, these also just fit straight up inside, which is nice. And then, yeah, I don't know that I want to give away this much quality, so that's why we got the other lower quality beacons, even an uncommon quality beacon and a legendary speed 2 module to see, yeah, 9.9% quality is, and still getting a decent speed boost. Let's also have a guy that is not impacted by the beacon at all, so we can compare, because 1.44 crushing speed for 12 quality versus 3.4 and giving away a small portion is pretty nice. Rare beacon legendary 2 is 9.3 quality. I mean, maybe I should do some math just to decide which of these that I like more, but I don't think it's going to be the speed 3 beacon. Yeah, the other thing that I'm looking at is all of these rocks are moved one at a time when we have one of these inserters, and so if we want to be able to get a large number of rocks out, I think we're going to need more inserters, probably because the stack size doesn't matter, because the stack size is still 1. So that's an interesting kind of revelation to be trying to have as everything is exploding around us. Yeah, all of these, I think we could try to do a bit of an attempt at harvesting, but I think we're going to have a lot of problems in trying to intercept the number of pieces of asteroids that are coming out here. And also the fact that so many of them are ice means that we might be able to do a quality juggle, because when we are trying to quality juggle, for example, all of these asteroids into better qualities, we kind of randomize the kinds of asteroids there are. So the fact that there are a ton of ice asteroids sitting around doesn't really mean anything when we are trying to do this randomizer. Although, didn't I notice? Yeah, the ice reprocessing into the other kinds is twice as fast, and we also have a ton of ice asteroids, so the exact number of these things is, yeah, I am coming to the conclusion that we need to get some kind of bad ship online and get it out there just to see what kind of rocks we're getting, what kind of collection patterns are at all good, and we probably will end up fully rebuilding a thing later anyway. What was this for? Oh, this was the things in the middle, yeah, sure. The other pretty interesting thing I have noticed, trying to figure out what this craft is going to do and what the various options are, is that there is a minus 80% limit, not just on pollution, but also on crafting speed. If we bomb all 8 ProdMod 3s into the cryo plant, we hit minus 80% crafting speed limit, which is still pretty good, because if we take out some of these things, yeah, we were already at minus 60 when we were getting 100% productivity bonus, and so if we go all the way up to, yeah, I think that means that we have, yeah, minus 75, fine, we can get another 100% productivity out of this thing for not all that much of a cost. And the really interesting thing about this is, didn't we have... We do have a couple of legendary cryo chambers. We do this with a legendary cryo chamber. Our crafting speed is 1, and also we're doing this at rare quality, because that's the kind of quantum processors we have, and that's the kind of biter eggs we're going to get. And so this is already kicking out. Yeah, this recipe by itself is 10 science packs, 5 seconds. That's 120 SPM just as a raw recipe. On top of that, we are throwing in at times 3 because we're doing it by rare, and another times 3 because we're doing it at 200% productivity at the lowest limit of crafting speed, which I like quite a lot. And so, well, we're at nearly 1000 SPM at that point. Also, we don't need that much of it, because the only tech that uses the Promethium science has a much larger lab limit, and if we're stitching in artillery shooting speed or mining productivity or more laser damage or any of these other techs, then we're also not using it this much, which means I think the entire science build can consist of these 2 legendary cryo chambers with all of their productivity, and this is still vastly more science than we need. But the other super interesting thing about this is we only need 0.2 quantum processors, which means that this thing with the speed module in it is also vastly more quantum processor than we need. Maybe we just grab from Cobalt Core the part of the build that does the quantum processors. Is this everything? Oh, there's a combinator there as well. Clip out the bits that we don't really want in this blueprint. We also only need 1 of these electromags. Oh yeah, get rid of that because it's going to bring the schedule with it, and we don't want that. And move that to Mindtech. And is it time to blast Mindtech? It actually might really be. If we... Yeah, I think we just drop this in here. Oh, there was another constant combinator looking at something else, wasn't there? What are you doing? You are not the same combinator at all? And then this is... Okay, so this is the combinator that's looking at whether or not we have... Yeah, charge and are going to Aquilo, but electricity is not the thing that we want to rate this assembler... we don't want to be rating these with electricity anymore, and maybe we should also use a grade of cryo chamber that we actually have, and then also a grade of speed mod that we actually have. Yeah, we want to be tying this combinator to, and this might be the first part of the ship that is in its final form. Are we going to give you just one of these? Whatever, we don't really care. We could speed you up, but you're also going super fast. It's fine. Yeah, if we go, we don't want either of these. We want to look at whether or not the cold fluid is greater than, say, probably only 6,000. But then also that the rare, where have you gone? They're down here, they're down here. The rare quantum processes. I keep looking in the same place as the green and red and blue chips, but they are not. They're like conceptually in that space. I don't know, also less than 600? I don't think we need a whole lot of these things. So this guy will only run when we have a shortage of the quantum processes and also enough fluoricoton, because yeah, we don't want to run down the fluoricoton into these guys at the expense of the power grid. And then yeah, so this is placed. Can we then, like, these guys are going to go just probably like right, I don't know, like over here somewhere. I don't think we do the direct insert outsert. I think we get just a regular fast inserter, because we really don't need many of these, right? We actually need... but also this is, we've slowed these down to crafting speed 1, so we actually only need 4 biter eggs per second, which will be fine even with one of these inserts. Yeah, I want to have one of these be looking for the biter eggs, and the other be looking for the quantum processors. These are going to sit right off the side of the hub, but I don't want to be pulling these things out yet. And then doing the same trick where we go... yeah, this is going to have to go somewhere else, but whatever. And then just move these around, because I think I'd also rather have all the biter eggs on a belt going around the base, in particular being closer to the turrets, rather than having, you know, 3 stacks exploding from the hub at once if they go off. But also, how many... We do need a lot of rocks. That is going to be... So we are committing to trying to make 10 rare Promethium rocks per second, which means we have to... Okay, this means a bunch of things. Number 1, we have to collect a lot more than that. Number 2, the place where we're collecting them is just over here, which means we want to stash a lot of rocks if we want to be processing the science on any of these other legs that we're doing. I think we also want to be storing ammunition and all of that. I think we're going to do a thing that I haven't seen a lot of other people do yet. Like, let's explain a thing I've seen other people do, which is you get yourself, possibly with belt weaving, possibly with several tiers of belt or larger qualities or things like this, you kind of throw together a bit of a Sierpinski gasket thing in the middle with regular belt, and then you have your other underground belts going in both directions, and then you can have a lot of asteroid storage in the same space, which is cool. We are not doing this because I have... actually, it's just here, isn't it? Yeah. So each of these tiles in the middle basically counts as 3 tiles, because you've got the surface storage, and then you've got 2 directions of belt storage. We're not doing that because I've got a plan I like more. The plan I like more is, for example, on Hexacube, you just run all the belts underneath the rest of your build. And so... yeah, if we had this little area that was asteroid storage, okay, great, there's still this whole area that is just like one layer of ship. Whereas I think we can do better than that, and in several instances, yeah. So I decided on the Rare Beacon Speed Module 2. Yeah, Rare Beacon, Legendary Speed Module 2, 9.3 quality, all of that going reasonably fast, and then I think we can actually do a thing where... where would this need to go? I think if we grabbed this and flipped it around... okay, maybe this way, so it keeps these connections in. If we do this, and then blast these 2 crushers out the way, we are still hitting what is this? 7, we're hitting 14. Oh yeah, it tells me in the bottom right. I was trying to count how many crushes we were hitting ourselves, and it just straight up tells me under the distribution efficiency on the bottom right of the thing. We're hitting 14 crushes with this distribution efficiency, but yeah, there's a thing we're going to look at there in the moment as well. If we then grab a couple of undergrounds, we can jump rocks into and out of this build with the effect that we can turn basically the entire ship into underbelt storage and not have to have a dedicated area for storage, which I like a lot. And then I think one of the things we're going to try here, yeah, like all of these I think want to be regular quality, and then I think we have somewhere a dude that looks for better than regular quality and then also just jumps that to here, it looks like. Yeah, so we can jump the uncommon quality rocks out of this build somewhere else, and then also be jumping other rocks through. The thing I'm wondering about is, can we have... Yeah, this is going to be tricky to try and rearrange inserters and stuff like that, but the thing I'm wondering about is whether or not we only ever pile ice into this particular build, because the ice is the thing that, first of all, we've got a ton of whenever we're at Aquilo. There's, yeah, mostly ice around, and ice is the thing we are trying to recycle into the other more useful rocks for things like... Is that true? Yeah, we do want both other kinds of rocks, don't we? We want, at quality, we want the iron for the rocket, and then also the carbonic rocks for the asteroids. Can we... not the ammunition, no. We can make the explosives in a cryo plant, but we can't do this coal reconstruction thing in a cryo plant. So probably we want to take something, take the core of this package and rearrange it to use the explosives, because then we can do silly things like... How many prod mods do we have? I don't think we have all that many prod mods, but we can get a bunch of asteroid... Yeah, we can get a bunch of productivity, which is a thing we're concerned about, because we're not doing this explosives. I was going to say we're not doing this explosives at rare, but we kind of are, aren't we? We'll need some at rare if we're trying to upgrade these rockets. We'll need some of it at common quality if we're trying to do railguns at common quality. I think the red ammo and the railguns we do at the same quality. Yeah, because I brought in down here this kind of recipe switching. Let's get this stuff out of the way. This kind of recipe switching stuff that I've been thinking about. We need to get the stack inserters up here as well. We've got them all over the place. It's fine. Foundry into Epic Foundry that has, yeah, an outserter for plate, 2 outserters for copper cable, and then reading just these particular locations of the belt and using these as, yeah, if we don't have enough copper cables, and this is less than 16 because 16 is half a stacked belt, make cables, and so if this... But anyway, the point being, when we have enough copper cable, if we don't have enough copper plate on the other belt, we can switch to the copper plate recipe. And when I was trying to do, recipe switching at the molten stage, it was a huge pain in the ass because it had to void all of the other ingredients before it would change recipe, whereas first of all, voiding the fluid ingredients happens instantly, it's completely fine, and then also voiding the outputs is the thing that we want to do into exactly the correct places they want to be anyway. So not sure about this moduling, not sure about whether we need... For example, yeah, I think we're just getting rid of you at this point, aren't we? Sucks to be you guys. Sucks to be you guys as well. Yeah, maybe we want to sit this back a bit because we may not be making enough steel. In fact, yeah, what was the railgun recipe? The railgun was twice as much coil as steel, and we are... Okay, so this one wants to be larger than the steel anyway, because it's got to go over to the plate. But yeah, we're going to need more steel. But the other thing I wanted to say about this one is we've lined this up so that we can also have more underbuild storage between these foundries as well. So basically every part of this ship can be doing multiple roles as, you know, whatever build we're doing, but then also, mouse wheel please, also storing asteroids. And yeah, this, a lot of asteroids here. Yeah, because the other thing I wanted to look at was whether or not the route from Aquilo to the solar system edge had as many ice rocks as Aquilo, and it looks like it has even more. Okay, big, huge carbonic, maybe 8 a minute, huge metallic, maybe 6 a minute there, and then the ice is down here. Those add up to less than 17. It looks like the most challenging part of the Aquilo to solar system edge might be the front 10 to 20 kilometers. Okay, so probably kilometers 5 to 40 depending on how this interpolation works. But also, yes, we have a lot of ice to play with, so I think that does mean a couple of things. Number one, I might think about all of these ratios in terms of just kicking ice onto the belt. Second of all, I think we're going to have a lot of ice storage because there are going to be other places on, yeah, other routes on. So this bit here, we are collecting a ton of ice. Maybe we're also collecting huge ice asteroid. We're going to be, where is this, 400? Yeah, this goes a long way. We are not doing this. 360 kilometers. We're not going 360 kilometers into that thing. How long is this? This is 100,000 kilometers, and that's likely to be the challenging bit. So we're going to be back here somewhere, which is still, you know, at the tiny small front of this graph, but this also says 16 per minute. And I don't know exactly how that fudges out, but also that's already up at the most intense part of how we were expecting to get to the solar edge. The theme I am going with is we are going to have a ton of ice rocks, and I think I am pretty happy determining ratios for this build, possibly even having several of this build. How many are we doing? How many? These are 4 rocks per second? Yeah, so open questions as to whether or not we are going to be able to shoot and then grab all the rocks that we can. So we've got these multiple inserter things coming out and then jumping these underneath this defensive layer. I've also, yeah, we're planning on doing things with laser turrets. We've also got some gun turrets in here. We've got the ammunition belt shed, which is also why I think the bullets and the railgun turrets should happen at the same quality, because then we can use the same foundries. And then we've got, yeah, a bunch of target selection. I've given other things that I'm not sure about that I want to test. I've given some of the railguns the option to shoot some of the big asteroids, and then the rocket launchers in the middle. This is all kind of nicely compact if we could actually get to building this thing. I've given the rockets some of, actually medium promethium asteroid we definitely don't want to be doing. We don't want to be trying to help the gun turrets with that. Maybe, I don't know. And then, yeah, also the lasers, we've got biters first, in case we ever have to deal with any of that, and then target priorities on the small rocks. Oh yeah, that was the thing I wanted to talk about with the missile turrets, isn't it? It's pretty important that we ignore unlisted turrets with the rocket turrets if we are giving them explosive ammo, and if there is any possibility that a biter might jump out of an egg. Firing rockets at our own ship seems like a pretty terrible idea. So yeah, we have the turrets trying to shoot the things that have low physical resistance, and then the laser turrets trying to shoot the things that have no physical resistance but very low laser resistance. And I think this means we can get away with fewer bullets and also more turrets, and also the laser turrets have better range. So maybe this... I mean, maybe this frees us up from needing bullets, but I also don't think we're going to need as many bullets. I don't think we're going to be challenged for the materials to make the red ammo if we're just doing it at regular quality, because we're going to have all those rocks and also all the foundry bonuses. Also power grid stuff where we're talking all these bits and pieces, yeah, because we've got, what is this, 160 megawatts maximum consumption, but there's also a 100% neighborhood bonus on this thing. I did notice that, yeah, if we grab ourselves a pump and we save pump filter for plasma, the mouse over of this thing actually super helpful. It is not a normal fluid and cannot be moved in empty pipes. And I don't think it can be moved in pumps either. Well, the very next sentence is it can only be moved through the fusion generator and fusion reactor. And then there's a bunch of stuff about temperature that we kind of need to experiment with. We're currently not making the fuel for this, but basically I was wondering if I could move these guys further away from the generator so that we could do more underbuild storage garbage. And actually it would be, yeah, it would be this way that would allow, wouldn't it? The thing is that it doesn't work because it's not a normal fluid and does not move through pipes. But I think what we can do is have, if we spread the generators out like so, 160 megawatts usually relates to 2 of these. We might have to do this on both sides depending on exactly how the neighborhood bonus works, but now we've got a spot that we can drive a whole pile of underbuild storage through the middle of our fusion reactors. So yeah, basically every part of this base is, yeah, the smelting, we can have rocks underneath, the quality recyclers, we can have rocks underneath, the fusion generator, we can have rocks underneath. The other, yeah, these, actually, can we, do we have, okay, you're going to have to disappear and we're going to put that back later. Maybe we can just try it over here. We don't actually have, okay, yeah, because the thing I wanted to see was whether or not we could also just get, okay, so we might also be able to organize our storage hubs so that we are doing a lot of blue belts. Yeah, so this one wanted to be blue belt as well, didn't it? We might be able to arrange, which is going to have consequences for where these guys go. Like if we can have a whole lot of storage coming off the hub in a kind of 2x2 pattern, then we can also use the same space to be, yeah, we're going to have to do the platform from the side, aren't we? We can use the same space to also be doing underbuild storage things, which I think I like quite a lot. And then, yeah, the other thing that's, do we need this anymore? This is the pattern before I figured out the, yeah, the target allocation stuff. The other thing that I'm still finding kind of weird, yeah, also these probably want to be the best fast inserters we have, because I think this is going to be limited. In fact, could we even, I mean, things to test when we get out there, could we take off all these circuit controls and just let these guys collect everything they can, and would we be inserting out of this fast enough? Did we bring better fast inserters? We do have 37 epic fast inserters. Okay, how many inserters are we planning on using? Oh, it's going to be about 30, isn't it? 59? Oh, wait, no, because we're counting the ammunition ones as well. But we've got 10... Yeah, we've got 10 grabbers, and if we do some kind of pattern where we are getting 3 grabbers per... or 3 inserters per grabber, and then this is... Yeah, there was like another pattern where we had an inserter in here and then doing something like this, but this meant that I could have fewer laser turrets, so we're not doing that anymore. We're doing this kind of weird, only 2 inserters out, but I think these want to be the better inserters because these are moving things limited by their stack size. Oh yeah, the reason why I was back over here is, yeah, at some point we want to... The idea was we'll jump this stuff under the defensive network and then, you know, go somewhere else with it, but the thing that I'm still having to, like, reprogram my ship design brain for is I'm used to wanting a whole lot of random space around the place and then dodging things and then filling it all up with solar panels, because that's how every other ship works. You've got to have your solar power and your accumulators, and so you have kind of this free space into which you can wind everything else you want. Whereas what we're going to be doing in, yeah, we're going to have some solar panels, but actually let's get rid of all of that. The important build stuff is just going to be right here, because we are no longer interested in having quite so many solar panels. We have the fusion power, we have the rock juggling, we have the... yeah, how many... this is a lot of rocks, isn't it? I knew we had 10 because we started off with 20 and we wanted to use half of them so that we could have 2 ships and or a backup ship. And then these guys are firing at maybe 1 a second? Isn't there... there's a railgun shooting speed thing. Let's actually let's see if we can get the bot speed out first. There is a railgun shooting speed, but I'm wondering, like, if we've got 10 of these and these are each firing at 1 per second, we need to either have enough of a stash of railgun bullets to last us. Maybe the railgun ammo wants to be stacked on a belt, because talking about, whereas, yeah, if we are trying to do these guys, and we're probably going to go, you know, have some of this, have a whole lot of speed, we are still making, we need three assemblers to get close to 1 a second. And this, I think this much, I think 3 assemblers with this capability. Didn't we bring better assemblers? We brought a few better assemblers. We did not bring enough better assemblers, even if we beacon these harder, because we are, yeah, talking ourselves into wanting to sustain production for 10, maybe 10 railgun shots per second, which is, you know, 10 times the size of this thing. And then we are also looking at, we're already using 10 coils a second, so we need 100 coils a second if we're going to do that. Is that, yeah, if we want 10 a second to 100 coils per second, which means that we are already in the realm of, number 1, this foundry needing to go faster, and number 2, not ever actually recipe switching it. So we've got to figure out if that's a thing we feel like doing. Yeah, a copy of this drive section or something like it is what we want. I think we want fewer engines than this whole thing, or at least we want to go slower, partly so we have more time to shoot the rocks out of the way. Bad example because we're somewhere that doesn't have a lot of rocks, but also so that we have, that's not where we want it to be, mine tech, not muse flare. Yeah, also have more time to shoot and then also collect all the rocks, because I think I want all the rocks. And yeah, a copy of that little drive section with some belts and some little belt buffers over here. And yeah, I reorganized that into this thing, which I think I like a bit more. The belt buffers can come from further away. There's this little loop thing. Whatever resource we put on the inside, it's going to be either calcite or iron or whatever, can just loop around until it backs up, and it will probably back up. And then we've got a whole pile of build storage for any other kind of rocks we want. And then also, we've gone back to, it's still not symmetrical, but it's kind of weirdly symmetrical in, yeah, whatever, I like it. It's kind of a little bit off center, and then there are some some builds here that connect as well, and maybe we can fit some solar panels or accumulators in here. Also, the things I like about this is a nice narrow tapered rear end, which means we can do the thing where, yeah, hopefully the ship ends up this wide and starts off this wide, and we can just shoot everything out of our way and keep moving so that we don't have to worry about this bit getting hit by anything, because any rocks that are drifting in are still drifting in as we're moving away from them. Hopefully, things to test. I'm still mostly thinking about the layout here as well, and maybe not the modulings. Maybe we want, productivity is not actually going to do a whole lot for these, are we? We are not going to be short of these rocks, because all of this is going to happen at common with it because it turns into fluids. But 192 fluid used each by 6. I think we do want to be making fuel. I want these tanks to not matter. I think I want to have enough fuel to keep this running the whole time, because we've got to go, you know, an order of magnitude further than most of the journeys we're doing so far. This is still quite a few thrusters. I think we also are expecting / planning on this just being a larger, heavier ship with more stuff going on in it. Do we have... yeah, whatever. And that's how... and it's also already wider than the other ships we've dealt with. So I think that's how we're going to plan on slowing it down so we can do all the shooting and grabbing that we want to. Other things that are different that I think I want to do, like we talked about the number of asteroids possibly coming out, and we've not actually upgraded these inserters to their other kinds yet, but whatever. All of these are going to be on a separate belt to the ammunition. In all the other ship designs, we've just sushied all of this onto the main belt, and in fact, here I'm even expecting to put the rockets on a different belt. Partly for buffers, partly also so we can just completely fill this belt with rockets and not worry about it, but I'm also wondering about having 2 belts up to the front with bullets and railgun gun ammo. Although if we're stacking these belts, it might not matter, but I think I would still rather prefer not running out one side of the ship if I'm low on ammunition. Although if I'm low on ammunition, we're unhappy anyway, so maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe this is a pattern I like for crushing rocks into coal, into explosives, and the crusher can be the slowest thing that we think about when we're moduling all of these because it's the thing that will get better when we get productivity. Maybe we should also be doing this with long-handed inserters so that we can sneak more underbelt storage under here as well. Are we worried about... all of this stuff is going to keep up, isn't it? We've got fast inserters in here. Yeah. I mean, we're still doing a lot of theory crafting and a lot of hand waving. I think we are going to want to... okay, first of all, send up some repair packs because we've cut off the bullet supply, and so we're losing a lot of ships and stuff like that. Not going fast enough to really take damage, but would, you know, like to not lose this stuff. But also... work on just firing a ship out there that's still kind of bad, that's not necessarily compact, so we can at least test some of the assumptions about railgun bullet usage and stuff like that. It did also strike me that if we have, say, yeah, all of these different guys firing out the rocks they're collecting, if we throw in, say, a recycler here or something or whatever, we only need 2 inserters of the same capacity, or yeah, the same quality, filtered to the 2 asteroids, yeah, filtered to the Prometheum asteroids that we want, in order to, yeah, this guy's gonna get all of the quality upgrades as well. I think we should have enough quality modules for this, because we're only taking things out of each of these grabbers at the rate of 2 inserters, and so if we feed these 2 inserters, because also the stack size is not I think the other rocks, does it tell us stack size? Stack size 1, stack size 1. Yeah, so all of these things are just going to be picked up one at a time by these inserters. So these 2 inserters should make sure that almost all of the Prometheum coming out of this grabber goes into this recycler. Let's quickly spin up a little ship that can get out there and we can test what it's like, he said, and then bravely retreated into editor mode and arranged whatever disaster this is. Yeah, we've got the explosives, we went with the direct insert thing. I'm not super impressed with this for I mean, this bit is okay, but the general plan of upgrading the rockets I'm not sure is worth. We're throwing away a lot of rocks. Apparently we are low on carbonic rocks, so yeah, we're sort of desperately reprocessing some of the water rocks if we get them at this point, but I do like the way that we make the rockets and then a stack inserter collects them and pipes them out again. That's kind of cute, but I don't think I want to redo this again, basically because the whole ship wasn't really coming together in a way that I like. There's a lot of belt trash around here. This section I like quite a bit. This is nice and aesthetic. This is going to be the Prometheum asteroid upgrader, and then yeah, this is once I realized that we were going to attempt to do full ice into the rocks upgrade, I figured may as well spin that together because there's still not entirely sure whether that will work, and it did take quite a lot. We had like this first ring of stuff, and then there's more regular crushes also helping to just keep the other side of the belt clean. They got beaconed with an even better beacon that's worse for quality because we needed that to keep everything stable, and then we needed even more crushes down the other side with another beacon down here. And I just don't think that this whole thing here justifies getting 60% more rocket damage. I mean, maybe we could do the railgun stuff too. Maybe. The thing is, I think especially with this beacon that's not really doing a whole lot. Like, these beacons are doing nice work. If we were at a size of ship where we wanted to like grab all this stuff and do another copy down here so that this beacon was hitting a decent number of stuff, that might be a thing. But as it is, and yeah, then more wasted belt trash over here that I'm not enjoying either, and still several parts of important builds to try and fit into not much space, and then just generally the shape I was not enjoying either, and also still not having a way to get the ammunition into the front, which is also, as you might think, pretty important. Yeah, I think we're going to try and immediately unpick the sushi and then just throw away everything else, and maybe that works. But the other thing I was unhappy about with this one was the way that all of these, like the kind of the belt interface here, there isn't, all of this ends up kind of weird and jagged, and there's a whole lot of wasted space in here, which I am not a huge fan of. But most of this plan, are we at least stable? 140 maybe, because we've got circuit controls on the outer loop, but there's nothing actually limiting the inner loop and the rate at which things arrive. We just hope that we are processing things enough. So maybe this makes an appearance on a larger ship. But then decided I was going to reorganize this without quality for a simpler, more accessible version for whatever version of simple this means. Let's look at the explosives first. Yeah, we got basically the same kind of pattern, although I think it's shuffled around a bit to get the extra carbonic asteroids out. But I slapped two of them next to each other, put some beacons in, decided I could do a direct rocket speed thing, wanted another beacon in the middle, beacon on the foundries, but a couple more speed mods because they've only got one beacon, and like squirreled away to get the other explosives in here, and then squirreled away, we need to make green belts. We're using some green belts to get extra iron out for the red ammo. And then there's, yeah, stack belts here and explosives going through the middle to the other rockets here, and then out to, there's another stacked insert. I'm pretty sure that one is just for, like, we probably could have just a regular belt here. I think I was just doing that to keep the ship thin. And yeah, then realized there was another beacon that was kind of half used for the carbonic asteroid stuff on one side, and so we could slap the fuel next to it and beacon the fuel. So now we've got 1.3 thousand fuel from each of, yeah, from just one chem plant, which is nice. And that means, yeah, compared to, we'll be using a bit less than 1.2, so these tanks should always be full. This belt is just to help remind me where the middle of the ship is, because these guys being kind of offset always makes it look like it's more on one side than the other. Oh well. So this ended up with a giant mess, but I'm pretty happy about being able to get a whole lot of explosives out. And then, yeah, there's just one water system now, which I like quite a lot. In previous ships there's been a water system for the fuel and a water system for the explosives going into rockets, and now that's all just one thing handled by these two, which is nice, and those have been mostly fairly carefully ratioed. Hopefully it's not too much of a mess. I mean, we've also got a lot of efficiency beacons around the place that I don't really think we need to be worrying that much about the power grid, because we've only got a couple of things that are using nearly 10 megawatts, and we've got, yeah, this power grid, which I moved again. Cool. May have cursed this by saying we had put it in its final place and then decided to move it again. Good job. yeah, I don't think we... well, okay, based on how I'm putting this fuel in, we're not going to be using the turbines on the other side, which means we have 320 megawatts to play with, which is... We're going to be using the neighborhood bonus for efficiency rather than scale, but also means I don't think I need to worry so much about the efficiency beacons, but whatever. We've done that. And then, yeah, there's some recipe switching in here, and... yeah, not that one, this one, the one with the wires actually connected to it, will go between calcite and regular ice crushing, depending on whether or not we have enough calcite floating around. And there's some inserters that, yeah, nominally calcite goes into the smelting, except that we also grab it and kick it towards the fuel line instead. And then there's, yeah, this moment of, oh, hey, I need to get the copper out of here somewhere as well. It's cool to have that there, but we actually need to, you know, be able to take it to wherever the rockets and, well, not the rockets, the rail guns and red ammo are. And then, yeah, this one runs between carbon crushing just for the fuel source, and then also more ice crushing. Probably going to be most of the time ice crushing. And then the solution for extra carbon rocks coming out of this is we also just put them on the same belt, which ends up we attempt to take them off here. And then I think somewhere there's... oh yeah, here's the iron feed, which is also getting iron from over here. Yeah, things that started off good, and then, yeah, like this block of 8 missile assemblers, if you ignore the output belt, which is its own kind of disaster. Yeah, most of that is kind of nice. And then we get to the bit that's like, oh yeah, clutch this together. There might end up being carbide asteroid rocks on this fuel belt, in which case we say, you know, we don't actually care, just yeet them off the belt if they get to the end, it's probably fine. So yeah, calcite in here, water here, water doing a little bit of a loop, whatever. And that was the thing I wanted to check. I wanted to check whether this grinder is kicking out enough copper for this foundry to be happy. We don't need all 56, but we are going to need more than 9. But I'm also wondering whether or not we need to do this differently, because we might need to void iron. I don't know. Basically I'm looking at the ratios of what goes into... yeah, of what goes into these munitions, and thinking, like, with the steel productivity, are we even getting enough copper when we... yeah, maybe. So these builds have got to go somewhere, and there's quite a lot of space around. I'm pretty happy with that. Also, these gun turrets are just to help remind me where the middle of the ship is, which is no longer... yeah, again, air quotes, middle, cool, good job, very silly. Also reorganized the... yeah, this belt that I was complaining about there not being space to... about it being not flat and generally a mess. And so we've now got this nice belt through the middle of it, and probably the inserters that are coming directly off one of the grabber feeds should be the same quality as the grabber. I think I had that before, and that did not propagate to this section. Yeah, this is so we can attempt to upgrade the Promethium as quickly as we can. It's kind of a... yeah, there's 2 belts, one for each side, and they're both kind of swan into the middle and then away from each other again, in kind of a star-crossed lovers never actually meeting path. I'm sure there was space for both of us on that door. Oh well, yeet the amulet into the sea. And then, yeah, we try and grab all the Promethium off at any point. These change to anything less than rare and go back into the loop again. So it's kind of like a Promethium snakes and ladders, except that there's only snakes, there's no ladders, and you only have a 25% chance of surviving the snake. But if you do, there's a 25% chance that the snake upgrades your quality as it poops you out. And then, yeah, just, again, trying to collect there's no circuit filters on these at all yet, and I really don't know if this is going to work. It's going to be interesting, and we're just going to try and grab all the things we want from the other side. The other side is the same, but mirrored. Grab the things we want. Oh, I did want another splitter over here, because I want 2 belts. Like, this statistically should belt balance the stuff that's on the splitter, and if it doesn't, then I don't really mind, but we're going to cache it in 2 belts because that's better than 1, and then we're trying to just grab every other kind of asteroid that we might want. A belt with ice rocks on one side and carbonite on the other side, and a belt full of metal rocks. We could do double a full belt of ice stuff if we want to go into the recycling, but I don't think we need to. And then everything else, if it's the kind of Promethium asteroid chunk that we're still trying to upgrade, then send it around again. Actually, there's no way that we get a rare Promethium chunk here, because all of the recycler outputs are on the top, because that's how snakes work. But never mind. And then we try and put them back on the belt, and anything else also just gets, you know, yeeted. We do also have, not this one, this is the other output. We do have 2 nice inputs for, yeah, so the missiles just go on this belt, and then this other belt actually has a path of getting ammunition into the front of the build now, which is a pretty important step, which I like quite a bit. So yeah, these belts have to make it to the other end of the other end of the ship to have useful stuff done with them. Any other ice that passes this thing, we're just going to have a go at reprocessing, but I don't think we are going to need that much stuff, especially with this happening on both sides and speed modules. Back in the real game, we are still sawtoothing the labs a bit. I'm kind of okay with that. It is going up to 11k now, which is nice, and we're kicking through useful things like the laser damage and, yeah, making the railguns better and all that kind of stuff. Having 6 different techs simultaneously being progressed is a bit weird, but oh well. Oh yeah, that was the other thing I was going to check, isn't it? I wanted to check the rotational speed of the fast inserter versus the bulk inserter versus the stack inserter, and they are all 864 at normal quality, which probably means that their speeds are all the same through all the other qualities, because the hand size doesn't matter. But if the bulk inserters were going to be faster, I was going to consider using them at the front of the ship, because I think we're probably going to be inserter bottlenecked. But let's, yeah, look at the green belt thing. Let's go over to Fulgora, vulcanus, and figure out where, yeah, here's the blue belt. Can we, because this also probably needs lubricant to be doing the green belt. It doesn't need gears. I thought this needed a ton of gears. Okay, I was gonna use this gears here as well, but I guess we're not doing that. We can have, this could have gone anywhere then. Yeah, we're just gonna put things in a request thing, and this has gotten super easy. That's not super easy. We have automated the thing. How many tungsten plate do you actually need? You need 40 tungsten plate. Okay. Good reason why we did this in a foundry then. That productivity bonus might actually be pretty big. Other things that are important, we are going to need the fuel. So Aquilo is, yeah, backed up on the ice, which is kind of funny. We're not even going to bother fixing that now. Over here is the cryo plant that we're going to use for the fuel, because it's already set up with request boxes and stuff like that. We are going to need, at least I anticipate needing, fuel at multiple qualities, because, yeah, that's just emptying the stuff. We haven't set the requests up yet. Because the nuclear power plant, the portable nuclear power plant, needed fuel, so we made some nuclear fuel at quality for armor purposes. And does the portable fusion reactor does also need fuel, which we will make at quality to make a portable fusion reactor at quality. We've got everything else at quality, so that's fine. Yeah, these are actually just an in-place upgrade to the portable fusion reactors. Okay, but we're not going to worry about quality fuel now. We just want to get the, we're making, I guess we're making some of it with quality because we can. Anyway, things we need to do are figure out where ammonia is, and I thought that one of these guys, oh yeah, here's ammonia. That was maybe easier than I thought. Let's get rid of this. Let's flush a thing out. Let's, okay, so is this going to be the tricky bit? because we can have heat pipe in here, and this can move somewhere. I think we're okay. I think we can kludge this through. There we go. So we have the ammonia sorted as soon as we get all this stuff built. Thanks, good. And are we going to take... I mean, if we... we can actually prod mod this. In that case, I think for the non-quality version, we prod mod it because we can, although we don't have... Maybe we have good prod mods over here. We do not. Having kicked around some math, perhaps unsurprisingly, when we are making the red ammo, we need to vent iron ore, because we need a lot of... Okay, we need a bit of copper, but also we don't get much from the asteroids. And when we are making railgun ammo, we need to vent iron ore, because it's a lot of steel. Thing is, it doesn't balance out and won't overall balance out, because we don't know which ones we're making, so we've got to build a system that does both. The other thing I'm wondering... Like, all of these belts through here are just, like, surplus... output storage belts. Can we... I'm wondering if I can find a way to make the red... the bullets somewhere else. Although these are going to need more speed if we take them away from the beacon. And make less red ammo and more railgun. Because I don't want to need that much red ammo. And if I can get away from doing that, then we will. Can we... Can we do a tricky thing? Yeah, this output currently goes under. This one here is the output belt, isn't it? Which means these ones are the input belts. Yeah, because the idea that I'm having now, we still need to go and look at the smelting thing, because I've got an idea for that as well. All these ideas, making a mess. If we had input belts coming in, and then this one just stopped, and this one looped around, then we can have... two belts, one with steel and coils for the railguns and the other with steel and plate for the red ammo. And the thing I'm enjoying about this is these two belts are next to each other, which is what it looks like things like this pattern in the casting will be doing. But then also, can we just have, say here, a thing that filters for explosives on the right? And now this ammunition we need it on this side. We need the ammunition on the left hand side of this belt, so it's on the top side of this red ammo and doesn't go anywhere to the outputs, and is also filtered off from the explosives which we can have on the right hand side of this belt, which ends up filtering off to the inside of the railgun line and then stopping for the railgun outputs. And then we've just got... I think I like that more. It's still, like, do I even need 12 magazines per second? I hope not. Do we even need 6 railgun bullets a second? I also hope not. We're going to need more explosives for this as well. But the other thing that I wanted to do, that I don't know if it's going to work, is this block here with this beacon, maybe with this beacon, is basically, other than these belts, is let's get rid of the blinking. This is kind of a tileable explosives unit, in the sense that if we got rid of this top half and the output is happening differently, and we keep the beacon, then the rest of this thing is a thing we could drop here if we moved the rest of the belts, that we would still need to get, yeah, the carbonic asteroids in here, and then the outputs out in much the same way, because we are still limited by, at the moment, how much stuff is coming out of these. In fact, I think the thing to do in-game is check whether or not I have better crushes, because, yeah, also, because this one here, we've got 2 things making explosives for the normal rockets, and then we don't need to worry about this weird export over the side, because we've just got a completely different or could have a completely different cryo plant making explosives for the railgun bullets, which also means if we want to later do quality things for the rockets, then these are the two explosives that need to be doing quality things, and then this explosives for the other railgun stuff on this belt does not need to be quality, because yeah, we are not making this much steel at quality. It's not going to be a thing. But the other thing that we were distracted with over here was, yeah, what if we get, my other idea for this area was, what if we had a bunch of these crushers? You are going way too fast. We don't need that much stuff. We may as well save some power grid if we can. And then this is, okay, so this is the iron ore feed for the fuel, which is pretty important. Need to preserve that. And then this is the inserter that is checking whether or not... Yeah, I only put this tank in because it seemed like a nice way to be able to connect these various... Yeah, to connect these foundries to their fluids, but it also turns out to be quite good for being able to decide to turn on or off the other foundry. And then I think we want this one, move all this stuff, and then this is the rocks ejection, which we no longer want like that. This is, oh yeah, the getting the liquid, getting the molten copper out is going to be a thing as well. But I wanted to reorganize all of this so I could see whether or not we could make this space work, and we might need a bunch of things over here. Yeah, what if we just had a bunch of crushers in a row, and then had output and input belts, so that if we lane mash these, you're only going to need long head inserters here, aren't we? If we lane mash these, then we will always priority the rocks that are kicking out from the... kicking out the rocks that are not ore that we get from this crushing process. So, also we will need, for this plan to work, we need to stack the belts, because we're having a lot of ore go through, which also means we need to filter... We need to filter these stack inserters, because these things are giving us different inputs, and we will just block the belts if we just try to do this with one stack inserter, because there'll be some iron, there'll be some copper, it'll take... An unfiltered stack inserter will take some of one and then wait to fill up its hand, and that won't work. But, oh yeah, I should have copied all this thing. This one as well, but you can probably just be one stack inserter. How much are you? You are beaconed? Do we need to have it run a little so the beacon checks? Oh no, because you're on the the one on the end. I wanted to be the just iron recipe, because this is the one that is going to top up the iron supply. Yeah, there's a lot of iron, 140 in a second. We're probably going to need 2 stack inserters there. But the plan of the geometry of this, let's see if we can make this work, is that these ones just wandered down this way. This copper pipe we're going to worry about. The other pair we will run the other way and underneath, and then here we can have... The plan is we block all the iron output with copper, like deliberately, like that's straight up the plan. How are we getting this out? I think we might need to move... Can we move all of that to one side? Is it going to get ugly if we kick it to one side? You're going to have to come through here like so. Then we needed to be able to escape the copper. Cool. And then these two here should be on... Can we... you've got space. You can just run the other way like so, probably. I don't think that gets in the way. I mean, there's missiles coming out here as well, and this is all probably going to get rejigged because this guy here needs to change as well. But the idea being... yeah, so we have 4 of these things, making them mixed recipes. We just sushi all the iron and copper. We filter off the copper, which might block the iron, which is okay. But we've got this other iron supply here as well. And then we do need to be venting surplus iron, maybe. So... So we use all the copper, and then all the mixed crushes we like basically rate with copper. If we need the copper, we use the copper and the iron comes out. If we don't need the iron, then yeah, we need to do something like this. Can I copy the settings from an inserter to belt? Yes. Okay. So this crusher into this foundry will only run if we have a shortage of the molten iron and we never vent anything, and then these guys will just run based on how much copper we need, which we do need for both railgun stuff and also red ammo stuff. And then depending on, yeah, this foundry grabs iron that falls out of this mixed stuff. This foundry will also grab iron, and all the iron we grab here will run because we will never have more than 6,000. 6,000? Seems reasonable. And then, yeah, other reasons why we don't want to be doing red ammo and railgun turrets at high quality is throwing away rocks, throwing away ore would be bad. Although I guess in that case we could maybe think about, because I still like the idea of some quality, quality trashing the iron ore up to rare quality to then feed into the rare missiles thing. Although also, yeah, we would have to, because these guys don't use much iron, do they? It's like a chunk of iron, but the main cost of the rockets is the complexity of organizing the explosives everywhere. And the actual iron cost is not that much. The smelting cost for rare rockets is much smaller than the smelting cost for rare red ammo. But also, we would have to change around, and I like the way these are set up at the moment, or at least I like the way this block at least feels like it's a competent, responsible, somewhat tiling thing. Yeah, then we've got to figure out, oh, can we just... If we try to do something like this and grab the iron, then we might get blocked if we are not using the copper, if we're not really using the red ammo, so maybe we want to feed that from this belt instead? Could we just... Okay, so this... Several of these things are going to need to move, but perhaps. I think we could just for the... Oh, not a stack inserter, just a regular inserter, thanks. So this could be... Yes, somewhere over here. But you already at full extension, and there's a belt to be messing around with here, yeah. But this is also a way to reliably get iron for the fuel if the rest of the processes are stuck behind not getting copper. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to play with, wasn't there? Before we just disappeared back into the very brave editor mode, analysis hole. I don't know what I'm doing with this space over here, but having decided that we are still up for changing around how the reactors are laid out, I am wondering if these reactors, and it looks like they will, could fit, if we could have the reactors like in the middle of this section, which would let us get rid of these storage things. This is going to require a bunch of reorganizing as well, and it looks like it's going to be fine. Like, we can in fact have, get rid of this stuff. So the idea here is, are we just blasting? I guess we're just blasting. I don't know what we're doing about this. Oh, these already had to, yeah, because we were going to move these guys. We're not going to be here either. Cool. If all of this stuff is not around, then we can have more of this storage and underbelt stuff on the other side as well. And the thing I like about this, yeah, we have to remember we need these, put these back somewhere else. Oh yeah, the rare ice, which we are maybe just not even doing at this point. We could run... Yeah, if we grab this new way of arranging the power plant and line it up in this. Actually, on this concept, it moves even, it like rebalances again. We could have the same number of storage things on each side and have, yeah, have the hub actually in the middle again. I think we like that. Actually, let's do it this way. Yeah. Okay, still making a mess. The idea here being, all of this stuff can bounce underneath the storage and be fine. And then this generator, maybe the place we put it is... oh no, where is the center of... Is that the center of the hub? It is. And then we can probably move all of these... That's off. And the idea with this is we can continue to do the storage of whatever underneath this generator. And then also, can we... Your fuel stuff... Filter for... Fusion power cell, so I could have just moused over from anywhere. Does not say anything about a used cell. Depleted uranium fuel cell. Depleted uranium fuel cell. That, yeah, I wanted to look at the active one. Yeah. So the tooltip tells me there's a depleted uranium fuel cell, like spent fuel item. There is no such tooltip over the fusion power cell. So maybe we can. Yeah, maybe we don't need. How are we getting? Oh, I guess we can get the. I guess we can get... Yeah, because there's also... There are enough pipes in here to be able to do something like this, although we could pull it out the other side as well. Oh yeah, that's the thing I was going to talk about. Yeah, we can still have all but 2 of these belts connecting through to the other side of the hub, and then we can either run underground storage under the hub for any of these as well, or we could also just use the fuel cells directly from the hub. And there's still space all over the place to be able to get the rest of these pipes through. We might need to bump that forwards by a little. Yeah, I think that I like this as a central layout a bit more, which means I need to figure out where the chips are happening, where the cooling is happening, because this being central means that, I mean, maybe the chips are right here. Maybe... Yeah, but if we put the chips on this side of the thing, then we've got to jump both fluids back over, which is gross. Or we've also got to... Yeah, I did like having this directly adjacent to the hub, so maybe we kick the power plant to the side, and then, yeah, I don't know, but this is going to resymmetrize, if that's a word, the hub central to the platform, which means I need to shift all of this back as well, which is fine, editor mode, and also gives us a ton of storage, and also lets us, yeah, have a bunch of places to put or take anything we want from the hub, also underground, which I like. I was hoping the end of the episode could be a maiden flight to the reasonably well understood Aquilo. Turns out we're still doing design work, we're still figuring out, we're just leaning into the under-platform storage for asteroids everywhere, but then we've got to figure out how to pipe them one into the next, and then how to move the things we want down into where we've gone back to doing explosive rockets at quality. And maybe the smelting is over here, maybe as the smelting is over here I managed to get that fitting in here as well, although this was kind of a what shall I do with this space. Yeah, lots of storage, lots of asteroid storage, lots of problems if biter eggs spoil, a cute little quantum processor thing off to the side with a little bit less storage in that particular area that lets us get this nice symmetrical pattern on these generators and still get all of the cooling and tanks and unbarreling stuff in there. And what was it? Yeah, need to rework this quality thing. I think with 4 of these quality blocks wide, I am happy with how the overall shape of this thing goes from kind of the large punching face and punching and grabbing face through to the midsection. When I was trying to look at this with 3 wide, that sort of the tapering did not line up as well. But we've got a belt through the middle for the Prometheum asteroids, which we can jump underneath everything to get it into the back of the ship. But we also want to do a bunch of storage stuff. Yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff to do. I did realize that with all of this, having cut the red ammo, we don't need as much copper. We also don't need as much yellow ammo, which means we don't need as much iron. 330 twice and 300. I think we can get rid of one of these foundries. And I want to get rid of this one so I can have a better time getting the iron ore in here. But structurally it has to be this one, because this foundry is currently the one that's managing the overflow of copper from, or the overflow of iron ore from mixed copper, of which we also have less now because we need less copper plate, and the other pure iron source. Also, this beacon needs to, definitely needs to be boosting these crushers. It's not going to work if cool, smart belt. Great. Yeah, I'll fix that up later. And yeah, a bit more patching of things to do, but we should be able to get to, definitely at the beginning of the next episode, we're going to be flying to Aquilo and then seeing what it's like trying to get to the solar edge, and I suspect that we just may have massively overcooked this again.